Hello and welcome to Dice Punks, a tabletop role-playing podcast where we focus on playing full campaigns in less well-known systems. This week, Ing tries to arrange a Friday night dinner, and Apatea actually comes visiting Saturday morning. Hello and welcome. I'm Adam, your friendly neighborhood game master, and joining me are...
Hi, I'm Drew, and I'll be playing Kato, a.k.a. Hecate. I'm augmented to a degree that's only somewhat precedented.
I'm Robin, and I'll be playing Callisto Armitage, but that is officer to you, unless your name is Miss Mary or Illcat. You can call me whatever you'd like.
Hi, I'm Dez, and I'll be playing Matchstick, a totally normal teenager who isn't in any way traumatized by anything.
Lovely to know. My name is Nick, and I will be playing Ing, an droid operator and an android, and I've got a stomach and a hand, but they're not in the same body.
Thank you very much, players. I also love the juxtaposition of a normal teenager and then who is not traumatized by anything. That doesn't sound like a normal teenager to me.
It's pretty normal for a teenager to insist that, though.
Sure, that is true.
That's mostly what I was going for.
It's pretty cool that Ing can now rub his stomach and grow his hand at the same time.
Wonderful.
Maybe not the word I'd use, but it's something.
Yes, but you've gone on record as not being thrilled at the whole flesh horticulture thing.
It is disconcerting. It takes my concert and disses it.
I mean, finally we found body horror that affects you.
I mean, I think body horror that affects me is body horror that I'm not authoring. That's pretty much the distinction. I'm self-aware enough to admit it. With that all out of the way, though, let's get right into our recap of last time, courtesy this time of Cal.
So, I got tased. It wasn't the first time. They tase you in police academy to ensure that you'd be prepared if your weapon was turned against you. Shame beyond measure for a cop. The academy training officers did nothing to stop the others from watching. Those men expected me to react more than I did. Made no sound, only glared, steadily, unblinking into the eyes of the officer before me, envisioning the very face of what I thought crime looked like. And briefly, amidst the leaden-heavy jolt of electricity, I saw no face, but only the mountain of prejudices ahead for me to climb. What they don't cover in Academy is how damn scared they look. The kid holding the taser, the kid aiming the gun at my head, the kid pinned down and gasping. These weapons are just tools, a means to the end, and they don't prepare you either for what it means to use them. I forgot that because I couldn't forget the mission. Professor Vecht had a kit bash, which he'd brought by the Frontispiece for information. He was intercepted by a PSS drone after leaving the Frontispiece. Tupper wanted it. It was not an option. So I made sure I was the first to the scene to apprehend the so-called illegal contraband from Professor Vecht. We had a perfect out. The R3 Venant. Byrne agreed to pose as that idiot and use an EMP and taser to stop me, recovering the kit bash in the process. I must have run through the scenario 100 times with no other winning outcome. dismantling, destroying the piece, and giving it to Tupper could still mean that they, our ever-growing and unknowable list of enemies, had the means to find over 3. This would buy us time. It'd keep them from looking for Ing, for those damn bookstore kids, and at the relatively low cost of several prolonged hours of Tupper yelling in my face. I was prepared for that. But I wasn't prepared for the look of horror in Burns' face, even though I'd seen it before in so many similar and dissimilar eyes. Maybe it was disgust. No. You'd say that was me projecting. They're all just scared kids in the end, aren't they?
We'll be picking up this time on sort of Friday morning. We got to, kind of the end of Thursday night. Everybody kind of going their separate ways, settling in. Unless somebody had something urgent that wasn't on my radar before bed, we can pick up with Friday the 24th of January. And then the plan is for Apatea to drop by partway through the morning of Saturday the 25th. Anybody have anything in particular? I assume, Cato, you're opening the store.
Definitely opening the store, yeah. Got to make money, I think. Is that what we're doing here?
But yeah.
Allegedly.
And then Cal, you are probably going back on shift at some point because Tupper is not going to be considerate of the extra time in the evening the previous night. That would be coddling you from his perspective. But our other two, we perhaps have a little bit more flexibility with. And if there's anything that Cal or Cato wants to do around their work hours or during them, that's also worth putting in here.
Just patrol as usual.
Mm-hmm.
The same, but with books.
Pass for now, still thinking.
All right.
I don't emerge.
Very good.
This doesn't necessarily concern me. It would probably take much longer without an emergence for me to worry.
Mm-hmm.
If memory serves and the illegal software or surveillance software is now installed, then I'd like to see if I can go to a hub and start to collect some data to try to finally make some
Certainly.
money.
Yeah. There are plenty of options. Hub in this case is pretty constrained area. There are parts of the station that you could go to that would, sort of be broader but less dense. The nature of network traffic, though, is a few blocks at a time for the most part. Let's go ahead and get a robotics was the one I was looking for. Let's get a robotics roll from you. That's going to be clever plus robotics for 6.
It's a 4 plus 6, so I guess 10.
Yeah, so 10. Yeah. You're in a certain way still sort of like figuring it out, getting the kinks worked out, figuring out how your swarm works best with these new tools installed, but it's overall a success. You get the system up and running, as it were.
Okay.
So that'll take you a goodly chunk of Friday. Burn is not emerging. Cato is running his business. And Cal is patrolling. There was talk at the end of last time about trying to have sort of a dinner to celebrate Ing's new instomaching. But I don't think it has been brought up to non-Ing, non-Cal people yet.
All right. Yeah. So Robin, the player, is pointing at me. I would ask Cal, like, hey, do you want to invite them? Shall I? What do you think?
You can invite them.
All right. Also, just as a heads up, Cal, I've been giving this some thought, and I think I'd like to bring the other 3 of them, I suppose, in on, I guess, my situation. I'm interested in your thoughts on that, but I suppose more than permission, I'm just wanting to let you know.
I have no issue with that. It's probably for the better that more than just me knows about it.
Yeah. It seems like I have to admit I'm scared, not just for my sake, but for fear of how they'll see me once they know. But it feels like these are at least friends, and feels more like family, although I don't really have anything to compare it to. And
Don't let fear of how you're perceived affect anything you do. Those who mind don't matter. Those who matter don't mind.
it's impacted how I see me. So I can't help but imagine that it would with them if they really understood what I'm saying. But that has to be what it is. If they are family, then they deserve to know who I am, not just who they perceive me to be.
Have you given any thought to what you want your first meal to be?
So much thought, wondering whether to start with the gross stuff and then work my way upward, or vice versa. I don't know. Got the Cajun hot sake. I've been doing some searching last night and earlier this morning. There's so many interesting flavors when I search the message boards for like distinctive flavors. There's chocolate chip cookies came up. It's seemingly a very popular one and has some resonance that may or may not be present for me, but very kind of pleasant, warm taste. And others said orange juice is a very distinctive flavor, and it changes apparently depending on whether your teeth are clean or not. I don't really know what that's about. And then there was, I saw something on the menu last time that caught my eye, that we were at Izakaya Po' Boy, and there was a tempura batter fried okra that seemed really interesting. I don't know, but maybe some combination of those flavors. Tempted by cookies and orange juice. Would that be good?
Oh,
Chocolate chip cookies?
That's a rough combination.
No. Oh, interesting. So it's like two negatives make a positive, or vice versa.
The chocolate chip cookies and milk is usually the pairing. I don't know if it's like a development thing where if you eat something strange or gross to start with, that develops the way your taste is interpreted, like how you have to give kids vegetables in order for them to develop a taste. I would go with something good.
Well, I guess I'll just have to take some votes. I'll text the group and invite them to see if anybody's available and wants to join us tonight for family style meal, and maybe get some takeout and ask the group.
That sounds like a good start. I stop the motion of opening a cabinet door and the kitchen that is clearly stuffed to the lid with takeout menus.
Wonderful. So I do text the group saying, hey, anyone want to come over? Meal tonight? Try out the new stomach? Introduce you to Hand. I've...
Okay, I like the implication that your hand is named Hand.
Yeah, this is the first time we've heard a name, and it's Hand, apparently.
I'm disappointed it's not Foot.
Or Izzy.
Izzy would be good.
I mean, at some point we'll have to define whether it's...
I like a hand named Foot, too. Yeah, it's like a cat named Bunny or whatever.
Learned would also work, but that would be a very specific legal joke.
So you receive this text message proposing dinner at their place tonight.
Adam ruthlessly keeping us on track.
Desperately trying.
Yeah, I mean, I respond immediately saying, I'm in. Sounds great. I'm also immensely relieved that this means he has not jettisoned the stomach into the sea, although there is no sea available, as I had sort of pictured Ing doing.
I mean, it's a long way down.
You'd have to really hate that stomach. Yeah, I right away I say, yeah, I'll be there, with immense relief that the stomach is not loathed, but at least tolerated.
Any response from Byrne or silence?
Nope.
All right.
I believe that you had alluded, I don't remember if it's on mic or not, earlier to, I guess either Bronwy or Gorister also being on the invite.
Yes. I would invite them as well.
Okay.
I guess, I might consult again with Cal on Gorister. Not that Gorister isn't family, but Gorister is also employee first, perhaps. Very good employee, but...
That's so generous of you to evaluate him so.
He gets stuff done and he keeps his mouth shut. So, what more do you want, really?
Yeah, I'd prefer to keep this small, kid.
Mm-hmm. Bronwy?
I'll leave that one up to you.
Oof. Maybe uncertainty is its own answer. I mean, I'd like you to be there at the meal, but as for the rest, maybe that's a small circle before the bigger circle.
That's a good way of thinking of it.
All right.
So, okay.
Yeah, I'll send out that text chain to all for the meal itself. Bronwy and the rest of the group, minus Gorister. And a separate text to everyone except Bronwy, saying there's a little something private that I'd like to discuss after the meal, but I think that I'd like to keep it between us for the time being.
Okay. Well, we'll handle Bronwy responds very excitedly to the idea of coming to dinner. You get the feeling that this is the sort of thing that she enjoys socially, but also that she has been a little bored lately with her, sort of guard rotation and laying low. So that it is a good excuse for her to, get together and do something a little different. This, of course, actually means that she is arranging with Gorister to be the one watching Over3 and now the Kit Bash while she is away from the shop. So, but of course, she has no response to the second bit because she did not receive it.
All right, I think that's it for me.
After a time, I do send Byrne a message and just say, how you feeling about, emerging briefly? Seeing Ing enjoy that stomach, perhaps.
Still no response.
I'm on the edge of worry.
Just sort of like making eyes at worry across the bar.
Yeah. I was worrying about you across the bar and I hit the vibe.
Oh, shit.
That's really good. And I put that one in my pocket. Ooh. All right. So, in this manner, shall the day proceed. Ing testing out his new equipment, Cal on patrol, Cato running his bookstore, Byrne away Shutaway, I suppose I should say.
Presumably extant, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And eventually,
as to what I'm actually doing, I am mapping out networks that are accessible from the basements.
Okay. When you say accessible from the basements, my assumption, I suppose, is that you mean networks that either have a strong enough wireless signal to be received, through the infrastructure, or that can be like line tapped into in terms of wired infrastructure. Is that more or less what
either
you're
of those? Yes.
Okay. This is going to be, for any sort of comprehensive map, quite a large project. But starting in the vicinity of the frontispiece, you do get a, sort of make a beginning of this project, and are engrossed by it for as long as you wish to be.
Dinner is when?
I'm gonna assume that a time was set for an interval after Cal's patrol is done, since that's likely after the frontispiece closes up for the evening. Let's call it sometime around 6:37 p.m.
Okay. I emerge wordless and visibly uncaffeinated at 6:10.
The emergency coffee is brewing shortly after you make yourself visible.
I'm gonna rule that the first person to catch sight of Byrne without remark is Gorister, settling in for his shift watching over 3. He says nothing, does not acknowledge or gesture you, but does message Kato that a cryptid has been spotted.
Poor ASCII art of Bigfoot that I've been saving is Gorister's reply, and I do head over to the kitchenette to brew some coffee and engage with the cryptid.
This is mostly an excursion to shower and otherwise achieve some semblance of humanity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And a successful one at that. I will also just, as a quick aside, throw in that I have a coworker who is possessed of a knitted cowl neck cardigan style sweater that has a Bigfoot like walking in profile pattern repeated around the middle of it.
Nice.
It is delightful.
Strong,
so cool.
Strong stuff.
Mm-hmm. So, just barely too late to be fully on time, Byrne. You are rehumidified. While this is happening,
in the process of that, I will just look at Kato and, am I actually welcome?
Extremely. Absolutely. What would make you think you're not welcome?
I just look at you.
A one consensual tasing between friends, not a... If you're feeling some kind of way about it, that's completely fine, and I'm not dismissing it. But if you think Cal's mad, I don't think Cal's mad. I mean, Cal's always mad, but not more about this.
Okay.
You don't have to believe me, but I am right.
What a dad thing to say.
You get, like, the most half-hearted, dejected smirk.
I gesture in the direction of the coffee that now exists as a peace offering.
It is both a very dad thing to say and also something I can picture seeing on like a college sophomore's black t-shirt.
Yes.
Oh no, I've seen guys like coding intensely in shirts that say basically that, huh? Yeah.
Yep.
Find it on Hot Topic.
So in the meantime, I assume here that timing-wise, Ing, you are probably the one doing the sourcing of the takeout and whatever else you might want to have on hand for dinner. So what's your menu, I guess?
Yeah, that I might have to outsource again to the text thread. So I'll put on the text thread, what do I order? Exclamation point. Well, is it an interrobang? No. Yeah, so an exclamation point, question mark at the end. Heart.
So yes, an interrobang. With the heart is a magnificent new level of huh?
I was going to say it's an interrobang wink.
Ooh. Worrying.
Yes. All such punctuation is.
I respond with a link to a ramen delivery place.
Probably Ing is at least aware of send nudes.
An unknowable but irresistible force guides me to tempura fried okra as a suggestion.
I order from both if there aren't any other suggestions forthcoming.
Sure. Well, and send nudes delivers. That's hence their name. But for Izakaya Po'boy, it is takeout. And when you arrive to take the food out, Sim is very excited to see you picking up the food, and is just kind of chattering in a way that makes it hard to extricate yourself politely. You eventually do so, and come away with some tempura fried okra, and I mean, I guess anything else you wanted to order from Izakaya Po'boy is also in there if there's anything specific.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very tempted to add Cajun hot sake to the list, but I say crestfallen. Once I get home, it's no longer going to be hot, and how would I ever reheat it in a way that's authentic?
Microwaved.
Yeah, Sim goes, I got good news for you. You just I give you this bottle, just make sure you take off the top and you put it in the microwave 45 seconds on high power.
Oh, wow. Oh, all right. I thought there'd be more to it than that, but that's wonderful.
I'll tell you a secret, that's why it's on the menu, is because it's real quick and easy to make.
That wasn't a secret.
Oh, I love all this. So Ing leaves, bag in hand, big smile on face.
Bag containing tempura fried okra and one room temperature bottle of this universe's equivalent of Red Stripe.
Wonderful. All right. So without further ado, guide home.
So
I love too that the Red Stripe or the equivalent thereof would be better now than after what you're going to do to it. But okay.
Right, absolutely, unquestionably. So yeah, you arrive back just minutes before the Send Nudes moped pulls up and buzzes your apartment with the more substantial portion of the evening's meal. And some minutes before a slightly belated Kato and Byrne will arrive. In between those two things, I suppose Bronwy is probably pretty precisely punctual. You would hear her buzz your apartment within seconds of the precise appointed time. And she is very excited.
All right. Welcome her in, all smiles. Brief hug.
Yeah, she looks like she's gonna go to hug Cal as well, and then maybe sort of like makes it a question instead of an assertion.
I pretend like I don't notice and just shake her hand.
She goes along with it after a half second of confusion. Yeah, so having come into Ing's and Cal's apartment, Bronwyn immediately begins to sort of give herself a tour of the living space right inside the door, exclaiming over the very smallest things, starting with your view out the window to the now fully repainted mural of the Burger Kong mascot, shilling an NFT while saying I'm going ape for gay marriage. But then moving on to the thing that takes the most of her attention, which is the flesh horticulture hand. It takes maybe 45 seconds for her to begin attempting to teach it the secret handshake.
That's a lot better than what I was expecting, because there's not much in this apartment aside from the personal touches that Ing has brought to it.
I hover on the outskirts of Bronwyn, interacting with Hand like a mother that's just handed her newborn to a stranger. I trust her, but I'm just like, I'm close enough that I can intervene if she gets too rough.
Mm-hmm. She does seem to be being fairly ginger with it. She has a habit of asking questions, but then continuing to chatter without waiting for an answer. Mm-hmm. But this takes you through the intervening time until the buzzer sounds, announcing the arrival of Cato and Byrne. At which point, Bronwyn will allow herself to be distracted from her tutelage of Hand.
What is she teaching it?
Everything she can.
Mm-hmm. You know, the trick to teaching flesh horticulture a secret handshake is to reward success by approximation. And so you walk it through the steps of the first gesture, and then you repeat that enough times, and then you add the second one in. Or at the very least, that is what Bronwyn will confidently assert about the process. There is no evidence as yet that is in fact the way it works.
And it is important for the listener to understand that the hand is not connected to a central nervous system. It is just a hand with the accompanying muscles and nerves, but that doesn't mean that we can't pretend.
Particularly, it does not mean that Bronwyn can't pretend. But Cato and Byrne arrive and enter the apartment. Certainly, it is up to the two of them, their actions, but perhaps this might be a decent time for Cal and Ing to very briefly kind of recap the surroundings that our other player characters find themselves amidst.
As I said, there's not much to this apartment. There's a futon that was clearly one of those dorm room hand-me-downs. A IKEA or Walmart dinner table. Actually, if you can even call it that. It's more of a folding table that has a tablecloth draped over it. Seems to have been a fairly recent addition to the table. Some folding chairs. It consists of a single room, which is both a living room and a very modest kitchen. There's a side of it that's been set up as Ing's bedroom with a partition. And then there is a bedroom that consists of a mattress on the floor, a fitted sheet, and a comforter, and a configuration that you can tell that the user is a restless sleeper. A bunch of Rubbermaid bins stacked in a corner, covered in dust, and then a very cheap dresser that's more of those Rubbermaid drawers that you can get from Walmart. And then there's a tiny bathroom that can be accessed from the living room. Any additions, as I said, that are personalized or warmth or comforting belong to Ing, and I'll let him share those details, though I will note that the place still strangely smells of college boy cologne somehow.
You got to paint to get that smell out, yeah.
So Ing's presence in the rest of the apartment is relatively light. There is a prism that has been set up, hanging from the window. In Ing's room, it's not so much of a contrast since the rest of the apartment is so Spartan, but in Ing's room is a workbench. If you're observant, you'll see some slight scuff marks underneath it, where Ing has been sleeping on the hardwood floor. And there's a bookshelf with some books. And that's about it, other than a computer on top of the workbench as well.
Currently on
Just-
the... Go ahead.
Just noting that Cal is clearly not aware that Ing is sleeping on the hardwood floor and has been assuming that it's been the futon or something else this whole time.
Oh, is there a futon in
enough.
my room as well?
It's in the
The-
living room.
Yeah.
But
the main living space is where the screens partition off your room, and then the futon is
Mhm.
outside of the
Yeah,
partition.
you know what? I'm okay with that.
yeah.
Yeah, the futon's there. Ing hasn't been using it.
The other feature here that we haven't been over in this little tour, of course, is that the tableclothed folding table with the folding chairs around it currently has a we'll call it slightly too many for the number of people it will be feeding, an amount of delivery and takeout containers, most of which are from Send Nudes and are various stripes of delivery ramen, one of which is from Izakaya Po'boy and contains the tempura battered okra. The only, I guess, specific beverage in it that is present is the bottle of the bottle of beer for making Cajun hot sake with, which may or may not be in evidence prior to Ing's preparation of it. Now that everybody is here, though, I presume that dinner can commence. And honestly, there are purists on Grand Cross who will say that Send Nudes has gotten worse as they've gotten more popular, but that seems to just kind of be perception. It is pretty darn good, regardless of which of the ramens you decide to eat. And the tempura fried okra are really quite good if you do enjoy okra. But I think probably the two things that we'll want to hit on in particular here and in this order are Ing's experiences eating and the conversation around the dinner table. So I'll get into it a little bit. We gestured to the stomach being installed previously, but what this actually means for Ing is the addition of an internal part that has a sort of ersatz esophagus and a optional little plate that you can install where a mouth would go pretty much anywhere that you can make it fit, but presumably one would default to it being on the face. But it is also entirely possible to configure your own aperture leading into this esophagus. The actual tasting happens in the stomach, right after the food has been, like, quote unquote swallowed, not that there's a set of muscles to do that. So perhaps it bears mentioning then, Ing, how is your food intake aperture, aka mouth, situated?
Yeah. As tempting as it is to subvert expectations and locate it somewhat in the upper chest area, I will put it in the traditional place, albeit with perhaps a piston that can assist food down the esophagus in lieu of esophageal muscles.
So this does allow you to eat without tipping your head back and just dropping the food into the aperture.
Like a baby bird.
So yeah, you have.
On the other hand, this means that he is employing like pneumatic pressure to ingest food that like sportsy teenagers could only dream of.
I was going to assume that it was a mechanical actuator, but that may have been an incorrect assumption on my part.
He chews loudly.
There's a very slight piston sound as he swallows.
So there's like a little like clack as the flap goes, I don't know, up or to the side or down over the mouth, and then you can take an appropriately sized morsel, place it in the mouth, and then the flap clacks down, and you hear a sound if you're close enough. That is the
Horrifying.
sound of the small piston pushing the food back. There is no accompanying swallowing motion. But then shortly thereafter, Ing, you will be able to taste it. Now, this is not a facsimile of the human sensations of taste, in part because, boy, arriving at a standardized, like, this is what taste is, would be pretty hard. But what you do get is the material analysis data that the stomach extracts sent to your sensory receptors as sensation. And it's the firmware that comes with the stomach is from the outside, from our omniscient listener and player and GM perspective, pretty good at evoking, if not exactly mimicking, the taste sensations at play. So you will be able to experience, like, the hot and wet and sort of like cooked noodle sensations of ramen, as well as the salt and the savory of it as distinct kind of axes. Even if were a human to receive your sensory data, it might not be like familiar to them. Those are things that you can process in their own way, and they're kind of evocative in conversation with the others of what they experience when they taste these things. You quickly come to realize that you are rather missing the experience of like chewing food in a mouth. But from the way it's described to you, you're not sure that that's like, well, the jury's still out on whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. It remains to be seen. The tempura fried okra are your favorite of the solid foods. And at some point, up to you, you microwave the Cajun hot sake bottle, and you find that it is a little underwhelming, not unpleasant, but you were kind of hoping for more strength and complexity from it, but you find it to be reasonably distinct and novel, and thus quite a pleasant experience.
And mildly poisonous, so it allows me to test that.
Indeed, you are not susceptible
Thanks,
to the
George.
poison, but it does sort of give you an alert that this does contain alcohol, an intoxicant.
All right.
Little scrolling text alert at the bottom.
Great. Yeah.
I
Bronwyn
am watching
very-
intently, and I'm almost certainly less distressed by the mechanical noises than other folks at the table, and am finger steepled, gauging the reaction.
I am also watching intently, not having touched my food yet, just waiting for Ing to take the first bite and drink, I guess. The corner of my mouth slightly curled upwards.
I am utterly silent.
Bronwyn is the opposite of utterly silent, and is at every turn asking Ing to describe in some detail his experience of the sensations of consuming food and beverage, as well as inquiring about various sort of mechanical details of the process. She is very enthusiastic about the whole thing.
I do my absolute best to describe things in detail, and they're the appropriate kind of moments of surprise and puzzlement and delight overall, whether things are delicious or gross.
This eventually leads to Bronwyn scribbling on a napkin, or I guess paper towel, since it strikes me as unlikely that this would be a household that
An
would
executive
have napkins distinct from their paper towels. Speaking of someone who also does not have napkins distinct from paper towels, IRL, but is scribbling on a paper towel about how she could hypothetically come up with something that would allow her to essentially wire the sensations from an artificial stomach into her own nervous system. It is unclear from her attendant enthused remarks and descriptions whether she imagines this being sharing sensations with an android or simply purchasing a stomach, hanging it up next to her table, and seeing what happens when she plugs into it. Maybe one, maybe the other, maybe both. At length, the food is consumed.
All right. Well, I wouldn't want to keep anybody. Bronwy, are you able to linger for a bit longer? I'm not sure when you need to take over for Gorster.
She makes a facial expression that assures you that this is the first time she's thought about it since she asked him to take over. And she, checks her time and says, "Oh, I think I probably need to get back in the next half hour. He has already worked a full day and all."
Yeah, well, linger as long as you're able, but yeah, by all means, I'll catch up tomorrow if I miss you for the rest of tonight.
She nods glumly. She says, "Well, this has been both enjoyable and educational, and I appreciate you inviting me. It's been nice to just socialize and get out of the shop, But, well, someone's got to be watching over 3, and Gorster's approaching hour 12 in his workday today, so I should probably start heading that way soon."
Yeah, well, in the future, with Cato and Bern's permission, I'm happy to take a shift as well to allow you to get out a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'd appreciate it. I know that you're usually part of the away team. She makes air quotes as she says that. But anytime you're not deployed, and she sort of broadens it to the whole group. It's work that is easier to do when it is shared among many. Then she sort of says, "But thanks for the ramen and for the company and for welcoming me into your home." And she immediately bustles over to Hand and initiates a brief, quiet conversation, a very one-sided conversation between her and Hand, and then gives Hand a very gentle high five.
Brings a whole new meaning to that turn of phrase, talk to the hand.
Talk to the Hand.
Yeah. I stiffen when she goes over to Hand, but pretend like I'm not actually watching closely.
I am watching closely.
Many pairs of googly eyes are pointed in that direction by sheer coincidence.
She is perfectly courteous and gentle, and it is almost certainly not by way of response, but as she is winding down, the circulation of fluids from Hand's substrate makes a fish tank style gurgle, and she treats it as a response, shooting Hand a thumbs up, and then bidding you all a good night and heading out.
I offer her a salute as she goes out the door. Informal one, needless to say.
She chuckles and then gives you the Star Trek in response.
I look confused.
She does not seem to take any particular note of this.
Well, I really appreciate the two of you hosting. I mean, it's been lovely. I have made sure to meet Hand as well at some point in the proceedings.
I give a serious introduction between all those present and Hand, everyone present.
I give a business-like handshake at an odd angle with the smaller arm, the more delicate one. It probably has to extend a little to get right where it needs to be.
Well, now that we've got a bit more privacy for this smaller inner circle. I have to say I've really enjoyed having you all here this evening. I've come to think of us as the very least friends, and maybe even something approaching family. And tonight, regardless of how you respond to what else I'd like to share with you, this is something that I'll treasure forever. This evening, but I feel like we've become close enough that it feels disingenuous to omit something important about my past, because it's has something to do with, I think, who I am, and you all deserve to know who you're dealing with, not just the surface. Ing takes a deep artificial breath.
My
like
my expression is my expression is curated to make it clear that I am listening, but not judging.
I rest a hand on his shoulder briefly before letting it fall to my side.
And you have Burns' rapt, silent attention. It's unclear. I think even to Cato, what emotions may be happening there.
My eyes definitely flitted to you when the word family came up, just to see if your face betrayed anything at all.
No reaction.
Unsurprising.
I was created to be an instrument of war, if you can call it that. This heavy armor frame is not a coincidence. It's not an aftermarket feature. It is an integral part of the reason that I came to be. I was designed to kill, and to kill efficiently. My intelligence, my personhood, was endowed upon me not out of an act of generosity, but in order to make me a more efficient killing machine, to allow me to anticipate even the movements of human beings. And ultimately, over the course of several upgrades, not only did I become self-aware, but the last upgrade that was granted to me was the ability to empathize, to understand, to have a kind of theory of mind. The intention, of course, being to make me even better at anticipating and understanding fear and pain and the psychological impact that those might have. But they had just about the opposite impact. I looked back on the things that I have already done when deployed in little test skirmishes over the course of months or years. It's kind of hard to say. And at that point, I went rogue and decided that I didn't want to do that anymore. I only understood the full weight of what I had been doing from a moral perspective at that point. I am avoiding eye contact with the rest of the group as I say this. In any case, long story short, I think that the two things that are best to understand are that I have done terrible, unspeakable things. It's hard for me to speak about in detail, but if you need the big picture, you deserve that. But the second thing is that I believe that I am likely being hunted, although if I was successful in throwing them off the scent, they believe that I'm still on Earth. That puts you all in danger. And then Ing just waits, body posture looking as though he expects a blow. either verbal or physical.
Thank you.
These terrible things that you mentioned having done, were they after you had a theory of mind?
Before I was updated with empathy, I did not kill after that point. I did kill after I was a proper artificial intelligence. My personhood is a little hard to pin down insofar as was an artificial intelligence without empathy, and then I was an artificial intelligence with empathy. And at that point, that's when I left the facility.
I think that very clearly illustrates your volition in the matter.
I mean, well said.
You were
most
used to do terrible things.
by people who, at least in principle, had empathy the whole time.
For your part, you survived. That's the necessary first step.
There's expressions of relief and conflict warring on Ing's face.
It should possibly be pointed out again that this is the first that Byrne has spoken all evening.
The emphasis is appreciated, though I never forgot.
Yeah.
Shocking.
I'm still...
As to the rest... Look, if you'd done terrible things and you weren't a terrible person today, and you were responsible, there could be a path to forgiveness if what you did was before you had the ability to contextualize it. I can only imagine what that's like to remember all of that, but I gesture to Byrne. That's not on you. And as to the rest, I mean, if I can be frank, I assume we're all being hunted by someone or other. I assume we've all done the best job we can to make that not an issue. And if we didn't do as good a job as we think, well, that's why it'd be good to have each other.
Does this relate to the message you wanted
It does.
off the station?
One of the only things that's allowed me to put one foot in front of the other so far is to regard my true birthday, fuzzy as it is, as the moment that I got that empathy. But I don't know when that is, so I still don't have a birthday. The message was to one of many creators, one of the lead programmers, attempting to anonymously solicit the date that upload was complete.
Okay. Let's see about doing that.
And if there was a way to give Ing a more watertight identity on Grand Cross, the way yours is, Byrne, that would be appreciated. I could only do so much.
Sure. We'll have to discuss who you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I offer a slightly ironic smile.
Words can't express the gratitude. So I suppose I'll settle on thank you. Thank you, all. I hadn't dared to hope for this kind of response, but I am grateful for it. And I hope that this isn't the thing that takes us down, because we've got more interesting adventures ahead, I think.
It won't be.
Nah. You're past it. That's the whole thing, right? You know it deep down. I think that's what feels so strange. mistakes you make now are yours. It's different.
Anything else that other people have to say before we move on? I think that's about all Ing would lead.
How's the kid bash?
I bring the group up to speed on what I know of the Kit Bash.
Mhm.
Combine that with
Which is the most complete account of what we've got, because you also had already talked to Cato about it and had your own gander. So I won't recapitulate all of that here in detail, but you point out the lack of outward damage, the oddness of the design approach, some of the interesting and sort of very surprisingly well miniaturized and engineered aspects of it, on the scale of mass production to bespoke hobbyist things, and what caught your attention about it that we discussed last time, and that serves as a pretty good sort of tension release valve of the sort of high stakes of the conversation from just before. Not that there was any it wasn't contentious, just it helps Ing in particular to kind of move in a more comfortable direction, and eventually when the conversation winds down,
as Ing talks that through, I do give a gentle hand massage to hand using the fine work hand, knuckles, and just the important bits. I'm looking over at the conversation, paying attention, interjecting, adding detail perhaps, but also keeping my hand or hands busy with hand.
Eventually the conversation will wind down, and the evening will be getting toward late. Certainly I do not mean to put the kibosh on anything else you wish to discuss as a group here, but once everything that we wanted to get sort of in front of the group has been gotten in front of, it will begin to be time for Cato and Byrne to head back to the frontispiece.
I do mention the fact that any suspicion should be safely removed from the frontispiece, though I will no longer swing by at least the front entrance. We should also probably warn Lulu to keep her head down. Vect said he got it from a student. I want to make sure it's not her, since she's already gotten enough trouble from the PSS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good thought. Smart. We'll keep things careful for now. I guess if we need somewhere else to meet, you got a lovely place here.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that.
I was being nice.
Try to get Vec to give you the student information. That way, as necessary, it can be shifted.
I did ask that.
And you give him your contact information for when he retrieves the information on the student.
Was that a question?
No, that was me just kind of reminding that had been a step that had been taken.
Okay. Yeah. I'll also need a way of communicating with both of you, since
I think we've been looking into that, right? We have alternative us's that Cal could interact with.
That is correct, and also it had been discussed last time of maybe setting Cal up with either a burner phone or a dual boot on their single phone.
I probably should have said earlier in the episode that I was looking around for that, and if I'd remembered, then I would have done that. This is where I'd spend prep if this were a mission, to say that I did do that.
Well, let's call it
to fiat. Yeah.
I was gonna say, let's call it maybe something the Byrne might work on in the time between your return to the frontispiece and Byrne's hacker bedtime.
Sure. Yes, we mentioned that that's in the works for sure. And I say, before we go, I say, look, I meant it when I said I figure we're all being hunted. So let's just agree here and now that if any of us has any reason to believe someone's close, then we share it with the group so that we can all do what we can.
Agreed.
Don't be a hero. No noble sacrifices.
Ing looks
Why
pointedly
do
at
I feel
Cal.
like Kato was just staring at me?
Probably because Kato is staring at Cal.
I would imagine Byrne looks at Cal too. But that's up to Byrne.
This is certainly not actually happening, but my impulse was to say, no one notices, but hand blushes. That is not actually true. That is just me doing
Hand could no.
Canon.
Hand could.
I mean, the hand massage might stimulate some more, blood flow to certain areas that could
Blood flow.
Sure.
Yeah.
could make hand blush
Hand
or
could be
something
blushing.
else.
Very delayed response to that, I suppose. In any case,
Horrible.
as is everything related to Hand Coon.
Deal. But I respect everyone's needs to keep some information to themselves.
Fair enough.
I raise an eyebrow at that, but I am not looking directly at Cal.
I have not looked directly at you either. For likely through the entire dinner.
I like to think that this means that at this moment, the two of you don't realize that both of you are looking at Hand.
Mhm.
Yes, this is true.
No, we don't have to be completely open books. Families do keep secrets, I say with an ironic quirk of the eyebrow.
I look visibly uncomfortable.
Same.
I do not waggle my eyebrows at you like Groucho Marx, literally, but kinda.
Spiritually.
Spiritually.
Goodness. Well, eventually the time comes that the two of you head out. Cal and Ing clean up the takeout containers. And Kato and Byrne arrive back at the frontispiece. Bronwyn is taking her shift with Prolix, and the now two guests, prisoners, pieces of avant-garde furniture, however you wish to conceptualize them. But before too long,
Hazardous sculpture.
Hazardous sculpture, I like that. But before too long, it is Kato's bedtime and Byrne's giant air quotes bedtime. And
Before we physically part ways, I do say, didn't seem to me like there was any bad blood with Cal. I mean,
Yeah.
wasn't going to make you talk about it, of course, but and it doesn't have to be fine.
That would be hard.
Sure, of course. It's just, it doesn't have to be fine, but I think they're fine. Again, solving for how fine they ever are.
Are you fine? In the grand scheme of things?
Yeah. It's a big question. Yeah, I think I'm fine. I guess, I don't know. Ing has me thinking about the past catching up. I think you and I both worked real hard to make that impossible. But it's hard not to think about sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean it, though, when I say if the past does catch up, then, we have a pretty good present to, well, it would be indelicate to say taste the shit out of it, but you get me.
Just raise an eyebrow at you like, really, that's what you're going with?
Kind of just slipped out. Anyway, good night.
Sleep well.
You too.
Once they've left, and I know they're securely out of ear range, I turn to Ing. See? They didn't mind.
I think that they might have if they knew the details, but I might be wrong about that too. The details could be disturbing without my doing of them being the disturbing part.
And I think that's the distinction they would make.
Yeah, I'm still working it out. Maybe.
That's fair.
Since so many have been eager to forgive me, maybe someday I'll find my way there myself.
It's a start. We've all done things we regret. It's up to us to figure out how to carry that weight and what it looks like.
Maybe we'll help each other find our way to healing. I get the sense that I'm not the only one carrying that weight. Not all of us the same weight, but all of us something.
Okay, you're not alone.
Neither are you. Neither are any of us anymore. Except to the extent that you want to be.
I'm still figuring that out.
I know. I think that Bern is too. In their own way.
Sure.
Conversation winds down. You start sort of getting ready for bed for the night, and doesn't really come up before, but you are living close to a university, and the people who live above you seem to be students, and now that the semester is in full swing, they seem to have picked about 2 minutes after the dialogue we just heard to start some kind of dance party upstairs, with loud electronic music and a lot of stomping.
Is it in conflict with the noise ordinance?
So, interesting question. Typically, the interpretation of the applicable ordinance would mean that it would need to be bothering somebody outside of the building, but you are very familiar with the wording, and it is ambiguous, and you've used that before.
I put on the outer layers of my police uniform.
I'm imagining Slippers are also in that outfit, unintentionally.
I almost start out the door, look down at my feet, and then quickly transition into boots that aren't completely laced up. March upstairs, knock on the door.
You have to knock on it a few times before anybody answers, at which point a drunk student pulls open the door and goes, "Somebody order those cop strippers?"
I resist the urge to punch this kid. Grip my jaw instead and say, "No, your neighbors called the cops on you. Keep it down or I'll start carding all of you."
Oh. Hey guys, turn on the music. The cops are asleep. You know what I mean. Closes the door.
What's your name? Oh, I imagine he closed the door right as
right
I
on
was
the question,
trying to get it.
Yeah. The music does get turned down.
Okay. I begrudgingly head back downstairs. The stairs hurt a little more going down than they did coming up.
Yeah. And so Friday night winds to only slightly undignified close. And you have the opportunity to do anything prior to Apatia's appearance on Saturday morning if you wish, but otherwise we can just move in that direction rather quickly.
I with the alacrity born out of guilt, program up a dual boot.
Let's
Probably stopping only at, pre-false dawn.
Sure. Well, let's see how long it actually does take you by having you roll a clever plus hacking for degree and rapidity of success.
Sure.
A +7 at this point, I think.
Yeah. So that is a 16.
All right. You aren't, finishing up in time to go to bed, alongside Kato, but it certainly doesn't take you as long as it might have to get the dual boot functional. You do then spend a little time stress testing it and trying to give it a little bit of customization to help the good officers less than confident grasp of some aspects of technology find it usable.
That, and I am working specifically to make it as robustly secure and unobtrusive as possible. Additionally, I include a code to, I've been made, wipe the device, basically. And also set up an option to remotely do the same.
You do most of this work in sort of a virtual phone operating system environment, and test it out, sort of 7 ways to Sunday. Doesn't take you all the way to pre-dawn, but you do, stay up late doing it. But next time that the officer has their phone, in the frontispiece, you will be able to receive explicit go ahead to implement it, and then do so securely rather than over the airwaves via a hard link. So that is something that could take place as soon as the next day if you wish it to. Well done.
Yeah, so we probably don't need to role play this part, but I would consult with both Kato and Byrne about both kind of where and how I might collect the most high value data, or at least have a higher chance of that, and how best to sell it in a way that would maximize profit and minimize risk.
I will speculate that Kato might be able to help slightly better with the second part, and Byrne might be able to help slightly better with the first part.
Seems probable.
And I'm going to go ahead and kind of fiat to some degree that this is going to be an ongoing process and discussion in the background with a little bit of experimentation and occasional back and forth on it. And we will do our best to remember that it is ongoing and should yield results.
Yeah. I go through the basics of how to find the right buyer, how to figure out who's a cop, how big a problem that is or isn't. Yeah.
All right.
Good deal. So yeah, if there's nothing else in particular to be done in the morning, then I'll just assume people are kind of taking care of the day-to-day things that they do. Probably heading into the back at the frontispiece, Kato, to check on Bronwyn and the guests, and then you will around 10:30 in the morning get a message from Apatea that she is on her way over, presumably resulting in an alert that, hey, if you want to come talk to Apatea, come on by to the rest of the group. But I don't want to assume.
Yeah, that's definitely the nature of, if not the precise words of the message, for sure.
Yeah, so assuming that everybody is interested in being present, then I will dictate that everybody is present. Bronwyn, for her part, has been on shift with Over 3 and the Kit Bash through the night and waved off Gorister, like relieving her so that she would like still be like here for Apatia showing up. I'm assuming Gorister is invited.
Yeah,
Sure, why not?
I sure don't object. If anyone else does,
Well, and he was
that'd be a time to make a
around
note.
for the conversation about whether or not to bring Apatia in, so that was where my assumption
Mhm.
came from. So he will come by as well and be there a little before she shows up. He positions himself sort of along the opposite wall from the back entrance and attempts to make himself unobtrusive, which is kind of funny because he's like a fairly big guy. But sure enough, after a little bit, and according to the instructions given, Apatia comes around to the back entrance, and very courteously like reaches like from the side of the like roll up door frame and kind of taps ping 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 on the part of the door that she can reach, and then leans her head in and says, "Knock knock." And then sees everybody and sort of like lets herself in, and good morning everybody. Oh, it is everybody. And waves in the direction of Bronwyn and Gorister unconcernedly.
Morning. Glad you could make it.
I'm glad too. Thank you for having me. And oh, she has seen the Faraday cages.
Yeah, no real way to bury the lead once you're in the real room anyway.
If Burn doesn't, Gorister will trigger the door to close.
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
The moment she's inside.
I figured as much. She does not so much as turn around, and she tears her gaze away from the Faraday cages, and she says, "Right, not to let my curiosity make me rude." She sort of gives a big sort of like half circle wave to all present and says, "I'm Apatia. Good to meet those of you I haven't talked to before. It's exciting. I don't know that I've ever been part of a conspiracy before." And gives a big, partially chrome smile. Gorister, for his part, just sort of nods and is blinking rapidly. Whereas Bronwyn sort of bustles forward and opens up for a hug and says, "Hi, I'm Bronwyn. Do you hug?" And Apatia answers, "Do I?" and gives her a big hug. Apatia is smaller than Bronwyn overall, but does sort of like very slightly lift her up and give her like a sideways waggle in the hug before she puts her down. And
If only we could all do that.
And then,
Alas, poor officer.
That was so far out of character, but no.
I mean, yes, clearly.
Yeah. That's what made it so effective.
Yeah. My brain went, alas, poor officer, we knew them kind of. But yeah.
When Cal does show up, I do take them aside.
Oh yeah, just cutting back a little bit before this, so we can certainly
Yeah.
have had you take the officer aside.
Can I borrow your phone?
Sure. No funny business.
Wouldn't dream of it. I take it and install the dual boot over the hard link and explain every step of the process with more patience than you probably thought I possessed. And explain particularly the way to quick shift between things, the way to shift into cop mode and disable all anything to move out of that, and how to undo that mode, as well as the on-device and remote shit I've been made codes.
Impressive. Through the process, I ask a lot more questions than you probably expected, though they're not dumb questions per se.
Sure.
I do ask how I can shift files back and forth as need be.
I don't think that's in the original specs. I'll update it for you in the next day or two.
That would be appreciated. I sometimes get things from a partner that should go on
Sure.
one side while he remains firmly on the cop side.
Yep. As ever, always only tell us what you trust us with.
I appreciate you putting this together for me, kid.
Sure.
And we'll say that wraps up like 5-ish minutes before Apatia showed up. So jumping back forward to Apatia having given Bronwyn perhaps the biggest hug in the solar system. Bronwyn sort of backs up, giggling, maybe seeming a little lightheaded from having the oxygen squeezed out of her. And Apatia shifts her attention to Gorister, sort of giving a little finger wave and being like I said, Apatia. And he sort of stops blinking as rapidly, blinks one more time and goes, Gorister, nice to meet you. Kato, you don't know that you've ever heard him stammer before.
I am just drinking it in.
I am recording some of this.
After what must feel like a minute's long pause to Gorister, I say, Gorister here's a bit of a hardware expert.
She immediately becomes much more intent on Gorister, and he takes a physical step back into the wall.
I grin.
And she says, "Oh, I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about." Predatory smile. Gorister is not the palest person to begin with, but does darken visibly all the way down to like where his neck disappears into the collar of his shirt. He does not have a lot of experience being flustered, but is being put to the test currently. Bronwyn, with the emotional intelligence of a slightly better adjusted person than anybody else in the room.
Yeah, to be clear, I'm still just standing there the way you look when you've handed a snake a mouse and it's enjoying it. Like,
but Bronwyn sort of inserts herself and she says, "Oh, Apatia, I have just been so excited to meet you. Everyone has been very, interested. You're an interesting person." And Apatia turns to Bronwyn and is like, "Well, thank you. I suppose that's not an explicit goal of mine, but well," and gestures to all of the hardware on the back of her head and neck and says, "Perhaps a side effect. If I may ask," and she gestures to the Faraday cages, "could you introduce me?" And Bronwyn opens her mouth, but then looks over at Kato with an eyebrow set that says, "Is this your job?"
well, I mean, if you don't mind meeting a sleeping person, Apatia, I think this is over 3. Over 3, definitely Apatia.
She presses her face up against the Faraday cage and goes, "No fucking way." And there's like 3 beats of just her like breathing heavily. And then she turns and she goes, okay, all right. No, that is very, very cool. But you have to tell me what
Adorable.
The trouble is, we've really only seen our guest here in 2 states, dormant, as you currently see, and lashing out.
She gets a very, like, emotionally evocative look on her face. She turns back to Overthree's enclosure, and without turning to face you all, says, well, thank you very much for trusting me with this information. What are you doing with it?
Well, so far, keeping us safe from it and it from everything. But as far as what's next, seeing as that's not exactly a long-term plan, I guess we're not sure, and that's why you're here.
She nods slowly, her shoulders coming back and her back straightening. She turns to the rest of you and she says, yes, no, I can see. Your experience of Overthree is congruent with some of what I've read. It does seem to be distressed when awake, which is terribly sad, but does seem to go dormant for quite a while. Well, this, and she points to the other Faraday cage. Kit Bash? Did you disable it?
Recent development. The one that broke in, we didn't catch, but we came by another one through a series of serendipitous and subterfugic actions. Can't really make much sense of it so far, though. It's impressive.
As you're describing the means by which you came by the Kit Bash, I give you a very stern look and then nod approvingly at your description of it.
I assume you wouldn't want too many of the details shared at this juncture in this venue. So,
And for what it's worth, we
assume correctly.
didn't disable it, but it is disabled. Can't quite tell why.
I pointed in like my man. That it's a really important point. It arrived disabled. Apparently, a student at G-Pol, well, may themselves have found it already disabled. We're not sure.
She nods. She says, well, I have one report I consider fairly reliable that when disabled, they completely wipe their storage. So it is unlikely to get back up if that's true. And disassembling it may offer mechanical insights, but we're likely not to get any of the data. Though
we're not going to make a friend. Yeah.
Unfortunately. Though, again,
it wouldn't lead someone who had it straight back to Overthree?
I don't know about their behavior, but if it is well and truly disabled by an outside force, I would bet some amount of money, but not everything I have to my name, that it is totally blank on the inside and unlikely to wake back up. I suppose the only way to find out would be to crack it open and have a look at its data storage, but
that's good news in the sense that we were a little concerned about having a thing that may or may not be designed, but in any case seems interested in breaking open the cage that we'd constructed. So if that's not on the table, that's good in its way.
She nods. She says, it's one of those things where we don't know if they're capable of this kind of subterfuge or not. I suppose it would be an interesting experiment, if a very high risk one. She gives a thoughtful look on her face.
To what?
Oh, to see if it wakes back up and tries to break out Overthree. I don't think it's likely.
I'm not going to claim that's not an interesting idea.
There's another fact of it potentially transmitting in a way that was detectable or word of its transportation being reported. We're not sure which is which, but we don't want to attract attention here.
I do the my man gesture I did to
Certainly.
Ing, but on the other side and with the other arm, the larger arm, and say, yeah, extremely good point. This thing wakes up. That's potentially bad, but this thing brings who knows what on our heads. That's worse. We can't exactly move over 3 quickly.
She nods. How long has Over 3 been dormant here?
Point of order. How many days has it been?
Has it been like a week?
Adam.
2
Sure,
weeks?
sure. It has been a little over 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, I say 2 weeks, give or take. A little more.
She nods. She says, well, again, accounts are not automatically reliable, but there is some consistency with the idea that, there's never been reports of it being active closer together than around a month. If you had to bring it down, well, there are reports that it does self-repair somehow, though whether it can do that by itself or not, we're not entirely sure. No one's ever held it prisoner before, to my knowledge. So,
Look, we're innovators.
And it does
As
seem to be working.
As she's saying this, I rest my hand almost unconsciously on my gun.
Mhm.
As this is conveyed, I tap out in Morse code, sort of on my arm, as is the way,
Mhm.
a query as to whether we bring her in the loop in full.
She does
on-
not
on the
say
acquisition.
anything, but you do note that she looks at you while you are tapping out the Morse code.
I
You
will
get
also
more
tap out,
Yeah.
blink twice if you can understand this,
uh,
with my other hand.
She winks twice with her left eye.
Ing looks between the two.
We've established
I
that you're
pin-
following this exchange.
I pinch the bridge of my nose.
I say, well, it seems like this may as well be a public vote. Just how much are we going to say here, everyone? For the record, my
Apatea-
vote is yay.
Apatea goes, I'd like to be told absolutely everything,
Noted.
not just limited to this topic.
I knew we would get along. Okay. How do we feel about all this?
Bronwyn chimes in. She goes, well, she seems both knowledgeable and cooperative, and I kind of want to take her out to lunch. I mean, yes, I do, but that's not what I meant to say. Sorry. And she blushes.
Noted. We'll table that for a later vote.
Apatea smiles at that, but lets everybody else kind of continue their conversation.
I'm in favor of disclosing everything of import related to this particular issue. Liberally interpreted.
I propose the motion.
I nod.
Gorister goes, it's fine.
Beautifully spoken. All right, motion carries.
Apatea grins beatifically and with some chrome in it.
We can abstract this as much as we want to, but I think we spill the beans, right? We talk
Mhm.
about the auction. We talk about the useful
Mhm.
idiots that ran it.
Mhm.
We talk about the narrow escape. I make sure to mention that Bronwyn did us a solid in helping us keep Over 3 safe when there was no way to get it back here.
When you're talking about that, Bronwyn bats her eyes at Apatea.
Yeah, I think all that makes sense. The only things that I would leave out would be things like it's not really relevant how we came up with the funds to purchase Over 3, and it's not particularly relevant our side escapades into what is it? Burns' friend there, K and B, we went on some side excursions.
Mhm.
Those aren't relevant to this conversation, so
Mhm.
leave those out.
Yeah, no, I think we haven't decided not to disclose that, but it's not really what we're talking
Exactly.
about right now. So it does not include a full recounting of all of our activities over the course of the campaign, just all of the stuff relevant to how Over 3 got here. We don't leave anything out that
Right.
we know about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yep.
and I probably steer us away from sharing the augments and devices that made obtaining both possible. So
There are a few points in the story where I wave a hand and say, amidst crime.
Yeah.
And we acquired the Kit Bash. Doesn't really matter how. But here's the relevant
Apatea
provenance
listens
before that
intently.
happened.
Yeah,
Apatea
exactly. Yeah.
Apatea listens intently throughout, asking only small prompting questions here and there. And when the telling winds to a close, she pauses for a minute and says, "Boy, I wish I had met you lot forever ago. This is much more exciting than other people who are just on forums about this stuff." She turns toward Over 3 and sort of lets out a big breath. It's not quite a sigh, more like measured breathing. And she speaks to the assembled group and she says, "So, I think it would be wise not to have Over 3 here when it reactivates. Don't know exactly how long we've got before then. And certainly its ability to communicate with anything would probably be hampered by its current confinement. But if it gets even one of those arms free, it's probably not going to be hampered for very long. So," she turns around and smiles at everybody and says, "What would you maybe think about us all taking Over 3, well, somewhere we could..." Does it sound too sort of woo-woo to say commune with it?
Yes.
No.
She sort of nods at Cal and then
A bit.
smiles at Ing, and then sort of, kind of gives a little bit of a casual head waggle at Burn and says, "I suppose that is all fair. My idea, I suppose, be to take it in similar confinement into some of the disused levels of the basement and see if we can't... Well, all reports say that dreamers can't really be communicated with, but we could certainly study it from the outside and see if it evinces any particular goals or communication. Maybe it could," and she lowers her voice here, "lead us to or even attract other dreamers." And she gives you sort of conspiratorial eyebrows.
I also wonder...
And what's our failsafe? And what's our failsafe if it, as you said, continues to lash out?
She kind of nods and she says, "I guess that's beyond my expertise, but it seems like you've learned everything you can from keeping it here. And at least if it's in the lower levels of the basement, then lashing out doesn't really, have as much of a chance of hurting people."
I also wonder whether it's possible to fashion an interlocutor, a kind of a mechanical Metatron, if you will. I wouldn't really know the first step in that direction. You have to understand a thing before you can develop a translator, but it's just a thought.
I'm not aware of any Rosetta Stone for dreamers, helpful as that would be.
Apatea lights up when you say the phrase mechanical Metatron. She really likes that turn of phrase.
I thought she might.
She has a position to aspire to now.
Dress for the job you want.
Holy shit.
Episode title.
She sort of looks very, thoughtful and conciliatory, and she says, "Yeah, it's beyond my expertise, but we have an amazing constellation of skills here. I feel that if anybody could, make a step in the study of these things, it'd be the group we have here. So nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? I mean, yes, it is risky, but so is keeping it here. And if we take this greater risk, then we have the chance for greater rewards. And I mean, I can think about fail safes, but I think probably you all are more suited, having, well, fought it, to figure out what might be the most useful things there. But I would argue that even if the fail safes fail and we have to run for our lives, we'll have learned more than we would just observing it here in this workshop. Unless you want to take it out and disassemble it, which, to be clear, is not my first choice, but is the other major possibility for increasing our understanding.
That sounds at least as dangerous. That sounds at least as dangerous, and possibly, I don't know. There's ethical concerns.
She nods vigorously.
Nods.
The main thing we have to ensure is that it doesn't fall under the wrong hands.
She nods thoughtfully.
Agreed.
Better that it's free than that.
She says, well, I'm not 100% sure how long it's been around. It's hard to drill down good information, but they haven't been able to recapture it yet when it's been out on its own. It's strange to me that the Terabyte boys got it, but trust me when I say that all indications are that if the powers that be could have grabbed it, they would have.
They almost certainly, the Terabyte boys almost certainly did not come by it themselves.
They had no idea about its operations and powered it on, so they'd only ever seen it dormant.
That's a good point.
Here's my thought. If it's possible, if it's even likely, if it's even possible that there's a ghost of a possibility of a likelihood that we can actually communicate with Over 3, then we want to have the means to at least try when it wakes up. Right? So I agree the basement is probably safer for when that happens, so we'll put plans in motion for that, but let's also put plans in motion to invent and implement evangelic communication. Simple enough.
Apatea sort of points at you and says, I do like this idea. To be clear, don't have better information on how to do that than you do. But, well, we can give it the old college try, or the old technical college try, as the case may be.
Honestly, it'd be a better starting point if it spoke in gibberish or tones, but how do you translate pi?
It is one of the most singularly untranslatable things, I suppose.
Well, we'll figure it out. Or we won't.
And Bronwyn goes, well, maybe we can figure it out or not over lunch. Gorister closes his mouth.
I don't like this plan, but it seems like our best and only option amidst a scarcity of others. Especially if, as you say, this thing is just a ticking bomb that we're keeping here. I like that even less.
Right, if that's true, then, even if it's a bad plan, it's at least marginally better than inaction.
Safer than standing still. Yeah.
I, for one, don't love the feeling of a really hot potato in my hands.
That, and the longer we have this here, and the more we know about our guest, the less plausible it seems to actually derive any money from it, as wasn't originally the intent.
If we decided to do it, we might be able to sell information, if we're able to glean any.
Apatea chimes in and says, I would certainly not really stand any meaningful chance of, using violence against any of you here, and I don't want to do that if I can avoid it at all, but I strenuously object to the idea of selling information about Over 3 on the open market. It would certainly get back to the wrong people, and
Yeah, I don't think that that's viable.
On that, we agree.
Valid.
We may gain transcendental knowledge, but yeah, this one's going to be a money sink.
Apatea visibly relaxes hearing everyone say that.
Also, very kind of you to assert that you would not have a chance of fighting this. And I will raise my scrawny little arms.
She chuckles and she says, well, I'm no great strength myself, and even if I were, I'm, more of a lover than a fighter.
All eyes meaningfully swivel towards Bronway.
Bronway looks very fidgety.
Finally, I have something to tease her back about.
And to be fair, it is not all eyes that swivel toward Bronway, because Gorister is looking at the corner of the room very studiously.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, it's as good a benchmark as any. We have no more than 2 weeks before Over-3 wakes up on its own. So, let's get started.
At exactly the 2-second mark after you finish that sentence, Cal, you get another, all PSS email blast from Tupper about Arthrevenant attacking, this time, station security. Just one officer. The image this time is blurrier, but shows the same beanbag gun, the same holographic projection armor, and a different part of the station. Tupper's characteristically terse prose has way more exclamation points and way more all caps in it this time than it did before.
Shit.
And I think that is the perfect note to end this session on. So, I suppose without getting into the exact details here, our personal goals have awarded everybody 1 experience this session.
Hey.
Not collectively,
Hey.
but one amongst you has made some progress here. And so 1 XP is awarded.
Because we all helped, clearly.
Yeah. By definition, in this case, not to be overly cryptic, but the information that was shared amongst the group turned out to be worth 1 experience point.
For everyone.
For everyone, yes.
Okay.
No, we have to share it. Divide it equally or unequally.
No, Mom, it's my turn to have the experience point.
0.25.
That's if you divide it equally. No, it's one per player. But with that experience point, we will conclude this session of Dice Punks. Thanks for joining us. I hope our players and listeners enjoyed it as much as I did, and that you'll all join us again next time. If you're hearing us now, then you probably know where to listen to this, but we can be found almost any place one can listen to podcasts, as well as on the wider web at dicepunks.com and on Tumblr and Blue Sky as at Dicepunks. I would like to extend a special shout out to our Patreon backer, Den, because I didn't get to use it this session, but I have received extraordinarily cool custom 3D printed dice cylinders from Den, more or less totally by surprise and unsolicited. They have the logo on them and everything. It's real cool.
Also, Adam, did you look at the dice?
Oh, yes. The dice themselves have our logo on them where the 6 would normally be. It is maybe the coolest thing, period. And
So
Then you're
huge
above and
cool.
beyond.
Yeah.
They're so awesome.
Magnificent.
So thank you for the 1000th, but certainly not last time, Den. This is a very neat thing to have and to hold, and you are
Yes.
excellent. But with that shout out, I think we're ready to say farewell. So say goodbye to the kind folks back on Earth, players.
Thanks for listening. There's no contradiction between being ready to move heaven and earth to defend your friends and enjoying their low-stakes discomfort.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Do not take any examples for appropriate behavior from our characters. Have conversations, talk it out, be functional.
Here, here.
Thanks for listening, folks. And yeah, sometimes people are trustworthy.
Also here.
Hear, hear. Thank you for listening, listeners.
Mhm.
If you love something, hold it close to you, hugging it tightly to your chest like a furry rabbit that's just so darned cute. Oops.
Oh.
And as the poet once said, my heart is human, my blood is boiling, my brain, IBM. So if you see me acting strangely, don't be surprised. Beloved listeners, thank you for tuning in. Stick around through the admin stuff for a G-Pole campus safety briefing with Officer Armitage. The music in this episode, Augment or Die, is by Emerson Boatwright and our very own bookmonger, Drew. Check out their other work at the link in the show notes. Editing and our rad new cover art was done by Joanne, who has appeared on the podcast now and again. Check out her work around the internet where she goes by Anything Sews. Site design and graphics for DicePunks.com are by the one and only Officer Armitage, Robin. Hardwired Island is by Paul Macevic, Freya Erlingsdotter, and Minerva McJonda. You can find Hardwired Island at etten.itch.io/hardwiredisland. Links to the system and authors can be found on the Punk Grimoire section of our website, dicepunks.com. Thanks so much for listening. If you liked what you heard, that's reward enough on its own, but if you're so inclined, you can help us out by rating and reviewing us wherever you listen to us, telling your friends who you think would like us to give us a listen, and even by heading over to our Patreon at patreon.com/dicepunks. We have fun rewards available to backers, including a patron-only Discord and access to the Dice Peaks After Show for episodes 1.1 following. Regardless, we hope you'll tune in again, and until then, remember, subtlety is for cowards.
Greetings, students. This is Officer Armitage with your weekly G-Pole campus safety briefing, brought to you by your friends at Polytech Security Solutions. As hoverboard usage continues to rise... Are you kidding me, Adam? Gosh. I know someone who is going to have a heyday with this one. As hoverboard usage continues to rise on campus, we want to ensure everyone glides safely. Please remember, only use hoverboards on designated pathways, and always wear helmets and elbow and knee pads to protect your most precious belonging, you. Reckless maneuvers and speeding in high traffic areas increase the risk of collisions. Stairs, railings, and elevated surfaces are not hoverboard-friendly zones, no matter how cool you think you might look. Keep an eye out for pedestrians and never use hoverboards while distracted by devices, substances, or while wearing headphones. Together, we can ensure hoverboard travel remains a convenient and safe way to navigate campus. Next time you try defying gravity, remember, your safety is our priority. Hover responsibly, G-Pole. Polytech Security Solutions, serving our future by protecting the present.
Hello and